What's going on, guys? Zuco back with another Dragonflight video. Hope you are all doing very, very well. I want to talk about Warrior and some of the changes that I think we could potentially make to the Warrior spec to make it a more desirable class and spec in Mythic Plus primarily. I'm talking about in relation to the current kind of god comp that is the meta right now. And if you guys have been paying attention to the news, you know that Blizzard recently nerfed the meta comp, which again is like a Guardian Druid, an Augmentation Evoker, a Fire Mage, a Shadow Priest, and a Holy Paladin. That's kind of the best meta right now. So I've been going through classes that aren't always represented in Mythic Plus in particular, and I'm trying to make some changes to their talent tree to say, hey, what can we do here that might allow this class or this spec to get into the meta? So we're going to talk about that with Warrior today, some of my ideas for bringing them. I know that Fury Warrior is pretty well represented right now, but Arms Warrior and Prot Warrior are definitely not as represented, and so I think there's just some changes we could make to make Warrior a more desirable pick. Remember, we're going to focus almost entirely on utility, not damage, but utility. That'll bring more bonuses to the team, the entire team that you're running with. That's kind of the idea here, okay? And as a melee spec, it's going to be focused almost entirely on melee. Here's a glimpse of kind of what we're going to do. I guess I'll make it smaller here, but we're going to work on a couple different things. We're going to talk about Berserker's Rage up here. We're actually going to talk about Intervene. I didn't put that in here yet, but we are going to talk about Intervene. Berserker's Rage, Intervene. We're going to work our way down, and we're going to move Avatar into the middle section here. Talk about that in a minute. We're going to get rid of Spear of Bastion entirely, and we're just going to make that a PvP talent, and we're going to bring in some new stuff there. You can see kind of how it's going to work right here, okay? That's the basic kind of outline. Now let's get to what it actually looks like. I spent quite a while doing this. Now I know it's going to be a little bit overwhelming, so just bear with me as we kind of work through this, okay? Here's what this first looks like. Oops, that's later. First of all, let's talk about Berserker's Rage. This is a 1-minute cooldown. Right now, it removes Fear, Sap, and Incap for 6 seconds, which is a great ability to have. This should be baseline for Warriors. This is definitely a Warrior thing. Fear and removing Fear and Sap and Incap, it should be baseline. I don't know why it's not baseline, but it should be. Here's what I want to do. Make it baseline, so we remove it from the tree here, and instead we move up the bonuses. So now you get the ability baseline, and you can still choose to grab one of these choice nodes if you want. You can get Berserker's Shout, or you can get Piercing Hell. So you can still get the extra utility for free. Not for free, sorry. You get the ability for free, and now you can choose only one talent to get the extra effects. Having to choose 2 talents to get Berserker's Rage plus its bonuses is really stupid. So that's what I would do first of all, and then we would have a line that would just go straight from Berserker's Rage right to Frothing Berserker. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2, I'll get to Conqueror's Banner, but let's talk about Intervene really quickly. I think we should add a bonus to Intervene that grants you 20 Rage if you successfully intervene a target. I think, like, this is a really cool ability, and I'm kind of bummed out that it doesn't get used more because it's just a really neat idea. But again, it really does not get picked in any Mythic Plus environment. It doesn't even, I don't even know if it gets picked in Raid. So I think a buff to it would be kind of nice. I'm not entirely sure how to buff it, but I think giving Rage would be kind of cool. Okay, that's my first kind of idea there. Let's move on to the second step here. This is Conqueror's Banner. This is what I want to bring in to replace where Avatar is. Conqueror's Banner, of course, was in Shadowlands. It was a Covenant ability if you were a Necrolord. So we're going to take Avatar over here and Avatar's bonuses, and we're going to move them up to the middle. Oh, I just got DC'd. Oh, I think it's because of the it's patch day. Hold on, give me a second here. Let me get into just WoWhead. We'll just do it that way. Much easier. We it's literally patch day right now, guys. So I'm just move this over here. Perfect. We'll just do this really quickly. Okay, do that. Bring this down. Talking about Berserker's Rage, and then we will bring up the image that I had up there. Perfect. Okay, so here's the same tree. Yada yada. We're gonna take Avatar, which is down here, and we're going to move it into the middle of the tree up here, and we're going to move Intimidating Shout. So you can see with my new tree here, we've brought Conqueror's Banner into the bottom to replace Avatar. We moved Avatar to the top up here. I think I moved it a little bit too high. It should actually be down 1 row, and then its bonuses would also be down 1 row right above double time. So like, don't worry about the logistics of it, because this is actually, this should be in the second half, the middle section of the tree, not the top section. So just bear with me there. But here's what the new tree would look like. You would go from War Machine, and then you would have a choice to go into Spell Reflect or Intimidating Shout. Intimidating Shout connects to Thunderclap. Thunderclap still connects to the Leech nodes. Nothing has changed there. If you don't want to take Intimidating Shout, just take the Leech node, and you can still get to Thunderclap. Then you could take Spell Reflect, which can also get you to Avatar. Both of these get you to Avatar, okay? And then Avatar connects to its baseline ability. The other way to do this would be to move this down a little bit further and to say, hey, Avatar now connects to Heroic Leap or Thunderclap, one of the two. And it could connect straight from War Machine as well. You can make different connections there. You know, again, bear with where I've kind of put this. I made this entire thing up, and then I realized it was kind of out of place. But bottom line is, there's lots of connections there to get you to Avatar. Avatar is central to every single spec of Warrior, like Fury and Arms and Prot. They all want to use Avatar. It's used in every single build, so I don't know why it shouldn't be in the central part of the tree, just like Wings is for Paladin, right? Avenging Wrath is for Paladin. So move this into the middle. Intimidating Shout's over here. And then the bonuses for Intimidating Shout would actually be just below it, and you kind of just move Thunderclap over a little bit. I forgot to add that little section. Sorry about that. But the extra talents for for Intimidating Shout will still be there. They're just going to be like down here, and then you just move Thunderclap over a little bit, and Thunderclap, you'd have to kind of make room. But my bottom line is you want Avatar in the middle of the tree. Here's what the new Conqueror's banner is going to do, okay? It's a 2-minute cooldown just like it was before. Throw down a banner at your location that buffs you and up to 4 nearby allies, so 5 targets in total, including yourself. Grants 15% more armor and 200 mastery. Also reduces damage taken by 2% per second for 15 seconds. So at the very last second, you'll have 30% damage reduction. That's just the baseline ability 2-minute cooldown. There's also going to be a buff for it called Commanding Presence. Reduce damage taken by an additional 2% and lower Conqueror's banner by 1 minute. But Conqueror's banner now only lasts 10 seconds instead of 15 seconds. So you're basically getting a 1-minute Conqueror's banner instead of a 2-minute Conqueror's banner. And it gives you 4% damage reduction per second instead of 2. But it only lasts 10 seconds instead of 15. So the very last second, you'll have 40% damage reduction for all 5 party members instead of 30. Again, this might be a little bit overpowered, but the idea here is to give something back to your team. Let's make it, you know, maybe just keep the damage reduction the way it is and just lower the cooldown. But again, lower the duration so it's not as powerful. You can have the longer 2-minute cooldown one or the shorter 1-minute cooldown one that's a little bit more powerful. So again, the idea here is, again, utility for the team, giving damage reduction for the team, a little bit of mastery, which is going to be a little bit more damage, but mostly it's about that armor that you're giving everybody and that damage reduction. And that's a pure, like, defensive talent that you're not going to take necessarily if it's not really going to give you any more damage. It's just going to give you defense. So you have to choose what you want to do. Do you want to grab something like Thunderous Roar for damage, or do you want to grab Conqueror's Banner for defense? Again, I think I probably over-tuned it a little bit, but just, you know, the numbers are the numbers. Okay, now, let's go to this next one over here, which is going to be replacing Spear of Bastion entirely. Spear of Bastion is going to be gone, including its upgrades. Just gone. I would make it a PvP talent. I think the best part about Spear of Bastion is that it pins the enemies to the ground, and it's a very good PvP button. So I would just move it to the PvP tree and give it a couple of its little bonuses as well. But nobody uses this in any of their builds right now. Not a single warrior is using this. So I think we just get rid of it and we move forward. Shout Mastery is what's going to replace it. That's what this is down here. Shout Mastery with 2 more buffs, okay? Your shouts now grant additional bonuses. If you press Rallying Cry up here, it heals all allies that are affected by for 20% of their maximum health over 3 seconds. Okay. If you press Intimidating Shout, crowd control on the affected enemies that you've used Intimidating Shout on is now 50% more effective for 6 seconds. So other allies can use their crowd control on those enemies, and it will be 50% stronger. Stuns, slows, incaps, whatever the case might be, it will be more powerful now on those enemies. Berserking Shout. Again, this is the bonus, or Berserker's Rage, I should say. But actually, you actually have to take Berserker's Shout to get the bonus shout here. So you have to actually spec into Berserker's Shout. And remember, you're going to get Berserker's Rage baseline. So you can put 1 talent point into Berserker's Shout and get this extra bonus as well with Shout Mastery. For 6 seconds after casting Berserker's Shout, allies' resource generation is increased by 25%. So not only are you going to remove fear, sap, and fear from all of your party members, you're going to remove fear, which is super cool. Not only is that going to happen, but you are also going to increase their resource generation by 25%. That's kind of interesting, right? Arcane Mage getting their mana back. Healers getting their mana back. There's a bunch of like applications there, which I think is really interesting. Any spec that uses resources. Hunters getting their focus back quicker. Monks getting their, and rogues getting their energy back quicker. There's a really interesting idea there, okay? Challenging Shout. That is the Protection Warrior one only. So this is just for Prot Warrior. Resets the cooldown on Intervene and grants an additional charge of Intervene for 20 seconds. So I think that's kind of cool. You could intervene to somebody, then press Challenging Shout. Then you can intervene 2 more times, okay, to other party members and protect everybody. The idea with this one is you're just protecting everybody. And again, it's adding additional utility to bringing a Prot Warrior to a key. You can now intervene, then do the Challenging Shout, which taunts everybody. Then you can intervene 2 more times to enemies that are getting, or allies that are getting attacked. I think it's kind of a neat idea. Your warrior will just be bouncing around everywhere, keeping everybody safe. Demoralizing Shout. Once again, this is a Prot Warrior thing. You reflect the next 5 attacks made against you from affected enemies. Okay, so that's just for Prot Warrior. Now, there are 2 additional bonuses you can pick up if you want to. Down here, let's flip to those. So these are bonuses on top of the Shout Master cooldown that you're getting, okay, or passive, I guess, that you're getting. The first one's called Master of War. Using any Shout skill, should say skill, not kill, reduces yours and up to 5 nearby allies' offensive cooldowns by 20 seconds. This has a 2-minute internal cooldown. It's a passive effect, but it has a 2-minute cooldown. So you'd have to figure out exactly what offensive abilities are being used. Like for Hunter, for Survival Hunter, it'd be like Coordinated Assault. For Marksman Hunter, it'd be like True Shot Aura. For a Fury Warrior, it would be like their Berserk, or not, whatever it is. I forget what it is for Fury Warrior. I can't remember right now. For Arms Warrior, it would be like Blade Storm, right? So you can see for Enhancement Shaman, it's Feral Spirits, like all those different cooldowns. You get 20 seconds off of those when you use any Shout skill. Now, that has a 2-minute cooldown internally. So, but you can proc this with any one of your Shouts, which is kind of cool. Or you could take Master of Battle. Battle Shout, which again is your Shout that gives everybody 5% more attack damage. Battle Shout also provides you and up to 4 nearby allies with 15% armor penetration. This is like the Sunder armor thing coming back for Warrior the way it used to be back in the old expansions. I think this is a cool idea. So passively, you're providing 5 people, including yourself, with 15% armor pen. That might not be good because you might have a composition that includes ranged casters, like an Ellie Shaman or a Fire Mage or an Augmentation Evoker or whatever, right? And so you wouldn't take Master of Battle for that particular case. You might want to take Master of War, which gives them their offensive cooldowns back. But if you have a full, melee comp, I was going to make fun of it because nobody does this, but let's say you have a full melee comp. You've got like an Enhancement Shaman and a Windwalker Monk, and you're the Arms Warrior, and there's a Survival Hunter, and there is a, Protection Paladin. 5 melee people. I think I said, okay, Mistweaver Monk would be the healer. 5 melees, and you're buffing their armor penetration by 15%. That could be really cool. It could encourage you to pick up a pure melee comp or get a Hunter in the background doing physical damage, right? A Marksman or a BM Hunter could do that as well. So that's the idea there. That's the talent. You've got Shout Master. Shout Mastery in the bottom here. It gives you all these buffs, and then on top of that, you can do some big passive bonuses to all your different Shouts if you want to. Those are all the ideas that I have for Warrior, guys. I think it'd be really cool to buff Berserker's rage so that it's baseline, and then you might be incentivized to actually take the extra talent there. That would be really cool. Number 2, give Intervene an extra bonus so people actually press this ability. Conqueror's Banner should make its return. It should be purely utility almost, just damage reduction and armor that you're giving to your team. Again, probably too much here with the buff. You could tweak that a little bit. Get rid of Spear of Bastion because nobody plays with it, and introduce some more utility for warriors with Shout Mastery. You can give your allies health with Rallying Cry. You can increase crowd control on enemies with Intimidating Shout. Berserker's Shout can give resource generation to your group. Challenging Shout gives you a bunch of intervenes as a prot warrior, and Demoralizing Shout will reflect some damage, which keeps you safe, protects you for even longer as a prot warrior. So I love these kinds of ideas, and I think that this is a very warrior way to introduce some utility into the spec that doesn't completely break it, but might make it a more desirable pick in the Mythic Plus environment. Okay? Those are my ideas, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about Warrior and about some ideas to make them a little bit more meta, besides Fury Warrior, which is pretty meta, but you see what I'm saying. Let me know what you guys think in those comments down below. Thank you so much again for watching. Love you all. I will see you in the next one.